today. But Solomon's conclusion is exactly what you know to be true. If you are simply looking at the compass of life, looking at the north, the west, the south, and the east, you're going to come to this perspective as well. Life on planet Earth is meaningless. I was just listening to a philosophy professor. I know that it's crazy what your mind takes you to, but I was listening to on YouTube a philosophy professor from Duke University. And they're trying to debate the origins of life. And can I tell you, I just wanted to be with them because they were all drab. I'm being facetious right now. There wasn't a smile on their face. They were just sitting there, and there was two different philosophers, and they were debating the origins of the universe. And I just sat there and said, I feel so bad for these guys. They don't even know how to smile. Because you know what? If you're just studying the four corners of the earth, everything is meaningless. So Solomon is going to give us the meaning of life. The meaning of life. Notice what it says in verse 3. What does man gain by all his toil, at which he toils under the sun? What is this thing called life? You wake up, you have breakfast, you go to work, you come home, you have dinner, and you maybe watch the TV for a second or two, and you go to bed. What do you do the next day? You wake up, you have breakfast, you go to work, you come home, you might have dinner, you might watch TV, and you go to bed. It's just one big rat race. You do that for 70, maybe 80 years if you're lucky. You wake up, you have breakfast, you go to work, you come home, you have dinner, you watch a little TV, maybe mow the lawn now, and you go to bed. What is left over at the end of life has no significance. What you do on a daily basis has absolutely no significance. You wake up, you play the game of life, you go to bed, and you do this all over again the next day. Solomon is asking some questions. And he's saying, you know, I've woken up, I went out and I had fun all day long, and that fun got tired. I went out, I woke up, I built all these things, and I got bored with it. I went and I watched TV all day long. In fact, I watched porn all day long. It's coming next week, just so you know that. I watched all of this, and at the end of it all, fleeting, purposeless, meaningless. He simply is asking the question. I came to Alexander the Great this week. 31 years old. Anybody 31 years old in here or close to 31 years old? 31 years old in here or close to 31 years old. Alexander the Great, by 31 years old, had conquered all the military mights in all the world. Every major military power of the world at that time, Alexander the Great had taken out. He comes to his military prowess, all of his military people, and he starts crying. He goes, I don't have anybody else to conquer. He was looking for the next big battle, and there wasn't any. You can climb the ladder of success in any direction. We'll be talking about that next week. And you're going to find a dead end. You're going to find an end, and you're going to get there, and it's a boring, lonely, passionateless, purposeless, looking for more experience. At this point, they sense the emptiness. People get to the end of all these corners, and they think they have it all, but they're left empty. Can I just remind you, I don't want to make this summary yet, but we will talk about this next week. Suicide is your only way out. I want you to pay attention to who's committing suicide. Young people, can I talk to you for just a second? Your generation is the biggest participants in suicide right this second. Because you're coming to the ends of your wits and you're saying, this is worthless, this is meaningless, and you're looking for a way out, and your solution is permanent solution of suicide. You can't look at the four corners of this earth. There's more. We need to go on to the next point. The preacher teachers exploring the vanity of that is not merely an existence of cynicism, so it's just not the negativity, but it's profound recognition that the limitations of human endeavor, you can't find the answers on planet Earth. You can't find them here. Your meaning of life has to be beyond the planet Earth. It's under the sun is the way Solomon uses it here in verse 3. If you're looking on a horizontal perspective, if you're looking at just what is, you're looking around at this world with no vertical perception. If you are only looking at the horizontal, you have a temporal satisfaction, and the grave is as your gaze. The grave is your gaze. And so we can't just look at life from the gaze of looking at death. We have a pervasive teaching, religion in our world right this second. It's called naturalism. It means the understanding that we came from substance, from matter, as Darwinism or evolutionary theory. Everything's natural, it's material, there's no supernatural, there's nothing beyond the here and the now. This pervasive thinking of our day, of our worldviews, and there's a lack of acknowledgement of God in this view. And it's a sad reality, because if you look around the four corners of the earth, you're trying to find satisfaction and meaning in life. You can't find it, because there's a reality. In every single person that's on planet Earth, and who's ever lived and whoever will live, is this: there is a God-shaped hole in all of us. There is something more, and we know it. It's inside of us. We can come to the dead ends, and we get to all these places where we think there's satisfaction and there's pleasure. And by the way, there is temporary. But you get to the dead end of all these experiences, and you say, there's got to be more. And there is. It's God. So, with that being said, there's a pervasive perspective of under the sun. I want to make sure you understand this. We have in verses 1 through 3 the problem declared. We have an issue. Solomon starts his sermon out with trying to capture our attention. He says, you know what? Life is meaningless. It's totally, utterly meaningless. It's not worth living. That's how he starts off this sermon. Why? And then we're going to go into the why, and here verses 4 through 11. He's going to unfold for us what the why part of this whole story is. This is the why. Life is monotonous. Would you follow with me? Let me capture. Before I read the text, I'm going to give you the outline of the text so you can understand as we read it. You see this. The reality is this: there's a cycle of generations. Generations come and generations go. Meaningless. There's a cycle of nature. The sun comes up, the sun goes down. The rain comes down, it fills the streams, but it never stops raining. We've experienced that. There's this cycle of activity where there's all these things going on, but you're never contented. So let's go ahead and read the text. You ready? First way, it goes off this way. It says this: a generation goes and a generation comes, but the earth remains forever. People come and people go. What impact did they have? Do you know your great-great-great-grandfather? Maybe even your great-grandfather you might not know. Generations have come and generations go. We don't know who the people are. They're significant. We have their blood, their DNAs in us. Yet we don't know them. Generation comes and generation goes. Solomon's going to go on and say, hey, you know what? There's a cycle of nature. Notice what he says in regards to verse 5. The sun rises and the sun goes down and hastens to the place where it rises again. The wind blows to the south and goes around the north. Around and around the wind goes, and on its circuits the wind returns. All streams run to the sea. Our big stream right next to us right now has been almost over the bridge this whole week. All streams run to the sea. Yet the sea is not full. To the place where the streams flow, they are still flow again. It never stops raining. It never stops this cycle. It just keeps on keeping on, and you can't stop it. I don't care. Nobody do a rain dance anytime in the near future, okay? Because we have enough of it. You can't change the weather. It's a cycle that keeps on going. And it's interesting because it's all about the perspective. I want to make sure you understand the perspective. Solomon says this is mundane. This is crazy. The rain comes down all the time. It goes into the stream, and then it goes in the stream, and then it goes into the sea, and then all of a sudden you get rain again. It goes into the river and the streams, and then it goes back into the sea, and then it comes back again. You know, there's two different ways you can look at that process. From nature, Solomon says, this is meaningless. This is craziness. This is so stupid. Sorry, if my sons were in here, they'd be yelling at me right now because we don't use stupid at our home. But that's Solomon's strong language. If we would just come to the understanding of what happens around us as Solomon would, and seeing the summary of life, he's just saying this is totally meaningless. But Jeremiah in chapter 35 of Jeremiah, he saw that this same thing, he saw the same things, the sun coming up, the rain coming down. He saw all this and he said, hey, I'm looking at God's orderliness. See, he's doing something cool to provide for us. And he saw all of these things as God's faithfulness and that we could depend on God who is above the sun. And he says, woohoo! Thanks for the rain, God. It's good. Thanks for the sun coming up every day. It's good. I started to get sunburned yesterday. My nose is starting to get warm being outside. I'm like, man, I'm sensitive to that sun. But you know, it's all about perspective. It's all about perspective. It's the understanding of, you know what? We have two earthly perspectives right this second. You have an earthly perspective of evolution versus creation. There's two different perspectives that are in battle right this second for your heart, for your worldview. You were taught them. I was taught them. I went to public college and public high school, and I was taught these pervasive doctrines of evolution. And so let me just clarify for you just a second for perspective's sake. If you believe in evolution, you are here simply by chance. You're just a freak accident. That's all you are. You're just a freak accident. Nothing intended for you. It's just, you happened. It just so happened that pond ooze turned into a frog, and out of a frog came to a monkey, and somehow a monkey got you. It's a freak accident. Or you can look at the creation in which we live and you can say, you know what? There's got to be a design. Everything fits so well together. There has to be a designer. Your perspective can either be a wonderful accident and you're just here for the moment to enjoy it, or there's a wonderful purpose that you get to understand and pursue it. It's all about perspective. So let's spend some time for just a moment just looking at these perspectives. It just so happens that Earth is 93 million miles away from the sun that's on the surface of 12,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, on the surface of the sun, it's 12,000 degrees Fahrenheit. If we just so happen to live on Venus, we'd all burn up. It's too hot. And just so happens that if you're on Mars, you want to go to the beach, the best you're going to get is snow and ice. The hottest place on planet Earth is still going to be snowing, and you have ice storms. It's amazing that in the lineup of the planets, where Earth is located, from a 12,000 degree sun, we had to be at the right place. Just so you know, if we were 1 degree closer to the sun, we'd be burned up. You and I would be not just bad sunburn, like toast sunburn, okay? If you were just 1 degree further away from the sun, man, it'd be a hard time going to the beach. It just so happens Earth turns 365 and a third times around its axis yearly around the sun. If you were to kind of slow things down from we're going 1,000 miles an hour right now in the universe. We're flying through space at 1,000 miles an hour, spinning around the sun. If we were to slow that down, because I don't like to go that fast, let's go down to 100, okay? I can handle 100. Just so you know, if we were to slow down down to 100 miles an hour, your days would be 10 times longer, and you'd either be burning up and or freezing here on planet Earth. It just so happens. And it just so happens that the radius, the way that we turn, the way that the Earth is placed into the universe and on its axis, the way it spins around the sun, is at 23 1/3 degrees. It's the perfect amount for us to experience the 4 seasons. If we were tilted one way or another, we wouldn't experience the 4 seasons. Winter's a little long around here. It would be nice. God, can you kind of tip it just a little bit? It just so happens that 23 1/3 degree towards the sun gives us the beauty of all 4 seasons. It's awesome. But I just want to make sure you understand that it just so happens that this whole air that you and I are breathing kind of thing, the atmosphere is in perfect balance of oxygen to nitrogen. There's 79% oxygen and 20% nitrogen, and there's a variant gas of 1% in there. But you ready for this? I like 50-50. Let's share things 50-50. We should all be in marriage 50-50. Everybody should be enjoying 50-50. So let's give ourselves 50% oxygen, 50% nitrogen. The first person to light a match blows the whole thing up. It just so happens. If human existence is here, everything we see in nature simply mirrors what we experience on planet Earth. Life is repetitive, cyclical, and burdensome. Nothing changes. There's nothing new. There's nothing understood. That's the way the rest of the text is going to lay itself out. So let's go ahead into the cycle of activity. Verses 8 through 11. Listen to the cycle of activity. All things are full of weariness, he starts off. A man cannot utter it. The eye is not satisfied with seeing, nor the ear filled with hearing. what has been is what will be, and what has not has been what has been done is what has already been done. And there's nothing new under the sun. Is there a thing in which is said, "See, this is new"? It has been already in the ages before us. Solomon takes some time here to just say, let's look at the cycles of life. It's just monotonous. There's nothing more. You think, oh, we got computers. What are you talking about, Pastor? We got computers? I mean, my phone is it's smarter than what sent us to the moon. What you have in your pocket right now is smarter than what sent people to the moon. What are you talking about? Nothing new. There's new stuff out. Where did that stuff get made from? All the elements that are here on planet Earth. Solomon could have made a cell phone if he wanted to. There's nothing new. How you use what's here in front of you, you're just using what's already here. There's nothing new. We don't come up with any new elements. It's just being repurposed. There's nothing new. And so we understand more is never enough. Notice what he said, eyes desire for more. You have the lust of the eyes. You're like, oh man, that's a nice new truck. I want that truck. Or you look at something and you hear, oh, so-and-so, they went on vacation to Hawaii. I want to go to Hawaii. More is never enough. And so we come to another point. Everything is mundane. Everything is mundane. Is there a thing in which is said, see, this is new? It has already been in ages before us. You sit down and you have a meal together and the dishes pile up. That's breakfast. Moms, you make lunch and all the dishes pile up. Then moms, you come back and you do dinner, you make dinner and all the dishes pile up. And then everybody has to change their clothes. What's up with that? So little ones, I see my littlest ones, they go out and they play in the mud puddle in my backyard. They come in, they change their clothes. Yesterday they were out playing yesterday in the mud, and I set them up on the railing of the deck of our house just to get them dried out before they go into the washing machine. But the washing machine never turns off at our house. There's always laundry. Everybody goes every which way, but moms are stuck doing the laundry. At our house every Monday, all day long. Jess has got piles of clothes. Don't come to our house on Mondays. Maybe Tuesdays, if she's done. Piles of laundry, sorting them all out by their colors. And the kids have to have their favorite pants to wear the next day. Because they've used up all their favorites, and now it's time for the favorites. Mom, can I wear those pants? No, you've worn them for 5 days. They need to be washed. Life is mundane. Solomon, he concludes in verse 11 for this section. It says, you know what? It's all going to be forgotten. Notice what he says, there is no remembrance of former things, nor will there be any remembrance of latter things yet to be among those who come after. The reality is you're going to be remembered for maybe 50 years. if you're lucky. 50 years, maybe. Somebody's going to come along and they're going to have to come from school and they're going to bring a crayon up to your tombstone, and they're going to take the crayon and they're going to hold a piece of paper up to your tombstone, and they're going to take their crayon and kind of etch over the top of it to get your name, the date you were born, and the date you died. In fact, teenagers might come into that tombstone, and that stone that those kids just colored, they're going to kick your tombstone over, and they're going to break the stone that your family bought to remember you. Life is so monotonous. No memory, no purpose. Life, as you look at the four corners of the world, is vanity upon vanity. Life is plain miserable. Are you happy? If you were to write a book like Ecclesiastes, how would you measure your life? If you were to write a book like Solomon writes, and you came to the beginning of your book and how you introduced your book to all of us, we only covered the first 3 verses of Ecclesiastes. That's 12 chapters long. We're in trouble. How would you start your book of your life? What would you say your life was all about? What would you use to measure your existence? I want you to take a little bit deeper. I want to take you a little bit further into this question. Where do you see the monotony? Where do you see the sense of purpose of waking up every day? Why are you here? Before anybody goes out and commits suicide on this message, I told you already, you got to wait until the preacher ends. But if you're in the moment of looking around you and you're looking at life from the four corners, the compass that you and I know how to use on earth, you're going to come to the understanding that life is just monotonous. The question that we need to wrestle with as we wrap things up is this: have you seen the God-shaped hole in your life? Have you experienced the saying, as you look around you and you see everything unfolding around you, have you said there's got to be more? Have you come to the point of saying, you know what? If this is all there is, I might as well give up. You got to turn a corner. And my question for you is this: have you identified there's got to be more? And when you do that, got to be more, who or what fills that void? My question is God seen someplace in your life saying, God is the solution to fill in the needs of my life, to make this life meaningful and purposeful? I see that God has a purpose for my life. I understand God has a meaning, and I am not just here for selfless existence. I'm here for eternal purposes. Have you seen the God-shaped hole in your life? I saw it in mine. I saw it in mine at a very young age. My mom had passed away when I was, actually, you ready for this? Sorry, we're commemorating my mom's birth. Or my mom's funeral right now. I just thought about that. Sorry. Give me just a second. My mom's funeral was on my 6th birthday on Mother's Day. that experience of having my mom pass away on Mother's Day, or the funeral being celebrated on Mother's Day, she passed away on Saturday. It changed the course of the journey of my life. Because I want to be with my mom. We all want to be with our moms. Because they're special. But that lacking of a mom, I had a mom-sized hole in my chest. But I realized it's not a mom that I really needed. I needed Jesus to fill the hole in my chest. That didn't come until I was about 10 years old, but I cried myself to sleep repeatedly, looking for my mom to show up and asking and pleading for God to give me a mom. Can I share the good side of this? I just got to spend my 2 days this week with my stepmom, who is my mom. She filled the mom-sized hole in my chest. And I got to love on her and care for her this week. But Jesus, if I look at the eternal perspective of life, I need Jesus to fill the hole, because otherwise I can't come up with a good purpose of life. Life under the sun is meaningless. Solomon's initial life statement. I want to ask the worship team to come up real quick, because this song that we're going to sing as we conclude, it's our theme song for this series, is First Things First. There's the understanding that we need to make sure that we know how to put the first things first. We get distracted by world. We get distracted by all these things. But we need to put the first things first. The first things first is this: you have a God-shaped hole inside of you. If you can fill that hole, then you can learn how to live your life from first things first. Otherwise, your first things first is going to be chasing after the wind, Solomon's going to say. So I want to encourage you as we sing, as we meditate on this song, would you put a commitment to God? God, I want to pursue you. I want to make things first in my life with you. Would you pray, and we'll come back and close.
Can you switch the slides, Mariah? We need the words. All the things that I have held dear, vanities that whispered in my ear, what would I do if they all disappeared? Riches and fame and all that they could buy, come to find they never satisfy. What would I gain if my soul's a prize? I don't want to love what the world loves. I don't want to chase what the world does. I only want you. I only want you. First things first, I seek your will, not my own. Surrender all my wants to you. Keep the first thing first. To live your truth, walk your ways, set my eyes, Lord, I fix my face on you. All my desires reverse, to keep the first thing first. I give it all, my life an offering. My heart is yours, so have your way in me. Your kingdom's all I want to see. I don't want to love what the world loves. I don't want to chase what the world does. I only want you. I only want you. First things first, to seek your will, not my own. Surrender all my wants to you. Keep the first thing first, to live your truth, walk your way, set my eyes, Lord, I fix my face on you. All my desires reversed, to keep the first thing first, to keep the first thing first. First things first, to seek your will, not my own. Surrender all my wants to you. Keep the first thing first, to live your truth, walk your ways, set my eyes, Lord, I fix my face on you. All my desires reversed, to keep the first thing first, to keep the first thing first. All my desires reversed, to keep the first thing first.
Would you pray with me? God, thank you so much for giving us life that's meaningful. Lord, as we can seek to keep the first things first, to make our vertical emphasis to know you. And so, God, I pray that you'd help us to have meaning and purpose this week as we live out this life, Lord, for your purposes, for your eternity. So, God, bless us, we pray, on this journey. In Jesus' name, amen. Two things, okay? Two things. Everybody needs to go downstairs. Wonderful food, okay? Lots of food. We want to enjoy that. Moms, okay? Make sure, dads, children's, make sure this happens. As you're going out that direction, there's a magnetic board that has all the magnets of verses for our moms, something you can put on your refrigerator to encourage your hearts and soul. So moms, if you could make sure you pick up one of those magnets on your way out, we would like to be able to bless